Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTGO codes, including the new Cosmic Eclipse codes, go ahead and check out the Potown store. You can get all your code needs sorted out there. You can even use the OmniPoke code for an extra 5% discount on your orders. For today's video, now that the Paris special event is out the way, we can focus entirely on Cosmic Eclipse. Fortunately for me, we've got that sweet demo account, so we can just go ahead and test all the best stuff straight away. And one of the first things that I was most excited to test out was Arceus Palkia and Dialga. It was one of these archetypes that I kind of didn't really see working. One of the biggest reasons why I thought it was excellent in the Japanese meta was Choice Band. Choice Band really pushes Keldeo's math to be able to knock out Lele's and Dedenne's in one hit to really make it an efficient racing deck. I think because we didn't have that sort of luxury, this archetype would sort of be a little bit subpar, a little bit awkward to work, but I've seen the power of an Ends Resolve. We've tried to build around that as much as possible, and now we're just trying to get Ultra Creation GX working quickly, and the GX attack, as expected, is really good. So we're going to be trying to burst out Ultra Creation GX as soon as possible. Sometimes even early Ultimate Ray pressure is very good. This is essentially a full blitz, and if the Ends Resolve goes in your favor, you can be full blitzing on turn 1, and sometimes that's just worth it over using the GX attack, because sort of dealing with a board state can be just as vital at times as sort of setting yourself up for prizes later down the line. So yeah, this card has impressed me, and I think that the Keldeo build is definitely reasonable, and is one that could see play going forward, mainly because the Keldeo combo with Chaotic Swell is very dangerous. So let's have a look at this new tag team in a bit more detail. 280 hit points is very good. It's a little bit more of a push for some certain attackers out there right now, especially the other dragon type that we get from this set, Reshiram and Zekrom GX. So having that natural bulk to make them use other attackers can be quite good for you. And it also has the Ultimate Ray attack for water, metal, and colorless. A little bit awkward, let's be honest. But it does do that same amount of damage as Full Blitz, 150. And you get to search a deck for 3 basic energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. So that little bit of awkwardness for actually getting Ultimate Ray going by having 2 energy attack cost is sort of mitigated by the extra flexibility that you get as opposed to Full Blitz. Full Blitz has to be all to one target. Ultimate Ray can be however you want, and it could even go on to the active. Like, you never need it to, but it could go on to the active if you wanted it to, maybe against something like Pidgeot to control, for example. So yeah, this is really flexible acceleration, again, from the deck, so it helps thin the deck out pretty nicely. And because we do have that new Ends Resolve supporter available, you can in theory do this turn 1 if you really want to. We have this Ultra Creation GX attack for just the 1 metal cost. Your attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is already very good. It then means Ultimate Ray is a much more scary attack, because it can knock out things like Dedenne's and stuff with a Great Catcher play, which is obviously relevant. But if we also get this extra water energy attached, the Ultra Creation now states that when your opponent's active is knocked out by damage from an attack, you get to take extra prize cards. And that's not just the attacks of Arceus Palkia Dialga, that's the attacks for the rest of the game. The rest of the game, you have a hidden buff of taking additional prizes the entire time, which is really insane and puts a clock on all sorts of different Pokemon. Obviously, it's very good against non-GX attackers, because you're sort of doubling up on low hit points, and we even have healing style effects like Mallow and Lana in here. So think about Giratinas that are just going to try and hit 130 throughout the entire game. They only have 130 hit points themselves. Now Keldeo with that extra damage buff knocks them out, or Ultimate Ray already knocks them out, and you take 2 prizes for doing so, and you can Mallow and Lana and heal the 130 that they did to you. You can leave only 10 damage on yourself. So really dirty. I think this, in theory, has a good bunch of matchups because of the Swell Keldeo combo against a lot of the GX heavy decks. I think also against a lot of non-GX decks, because we take this additional prize, it's going to be very good pressure for us, because we have built-in energy acceleration via a supporter and via an attack, and the fact that we take additional prizes. I think this could also give Pidgeot to control a run for its money, because you really put them on a short clock. Even if you are susceptible to things like an Articuno coming in and ruining your day, it's hard for them to assemble a full combo with only like 2 or 3 turns of air mailing maximum. So it's sometimes they're going to have an incomplete handlock. We play naturally a bunch of switching options with Tag Call to find Mallow and Lana's, and physical switches, and we have Jirachi Engine here as well, so plenty of ways to get ourselves out of a hand lock, whilst also accelerating like all around our board when we need to. So I think naturally, just this card in itself encapsulates like a bunch of good matchups, because you can have very good times against other non-GXs, because you can get big uptrades, and if they're two-shotting you, you can heal with the new tag supporters, and great for Pidgeotto control, and just in general, the Keldeo is like the other part of the puzzle that helps us out against like greens-based matchups for sure, trying to rely on Power Plant that we can counter with Chaotic Swell. So yeah, I think the combo is actually really, really solid, so this card is excellent. It does have an awkward weakness to Fairy, which is worth bearing in mind, and I'll talk about a few techs later on where maybe we can sort of patch that up a little bit better. We then have 3 copies of Keldeo-GX, like the other sort of main attacker of the deck. Usually you kick off with the Arceus Palkia Dialga, unless you're up against like a pure GX matchup and you just happen to lead the Keldeo and you can just sort of roll with it and slowly build up your Keldeo. But usually it'll be the tag team into this Keldeo, hopefully using Ultimate Ray to power up the Sonic Edge attack that does 110 and isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so this can get through all sorts of things. It's a nice natural wall breaker, so we don't need to play any other attacker than the Keldeo, which is excellent. And it has that pure heart ability, which is the main selling point of the card, as we all know, preventing all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's GX or EX. So yeah, really annoying card. Many people's answer to Keldeo is either trying to like two-shot it with non-GXs. Mallow Lana's now in the format, which makes that like basically unviable, or trying to use Power Plant, and Chaotic Swell makes that pretty unviable as well. So Keldeo is a real big threat, I would say. It does have the Resolute Blade GX attack. Oftentimes you'll use Altered Creation, so it's not that relevant. But again, if you've just been in that situation where you've just had to manually power up a Keldeo for whatever reason, or you've chosen not to use Altered Creation just because of how the prizes are sort of mapped out on the board anyways, you can just do that 50 for each of your opponent's bench, which is also, you know, pretty good. We've seen how strong Lycanroc can be as a finisher sometimes, so yeah, Keldeo has the same attack, basically. And most importantly, it has 1 colorless in its attack cost, so you don't get super punished by the metal energies that we're forced to play for our tag team. For the rest of the Pokemon, because we are combo orientated with trying to get this GX attack off early and trying to get Ultimate Raying off as quickly as possible, it's just going to be a setup Pokemon for Jirachi, helping us Stellar Wish towards the end resolve, or Pokégears, or whatever else. Sometimes things like Cherish Ball or Tag Call to get either Dedenne for more draw, or our main attacker as well at times. And then we have these 2 Dedennes for Dede changing, giving us a fresh 6 to see if we can't hit that key supporter on the opening turns. This list is very basic in terms of us trying to just get the job done over and over again. I haven't tried to make it too complex at all. We're just trying to rinse and repeat this strategy over and over again. From there, Tag Call, an amazing item card from the new set. I really am really impressed with this card. I knew it was insane, I've played with it a bunch, and I think it's even more insane than I even imagined. You get to search your deck for up to 2 tag team cards, reveal it and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. In a bunch of tag team decks, I'm talking even like Dedenne Jirachi builds, I'm playing the 2 Cynthia Caitlin 2 Mallow combo because they offer so much. They're searchable via this card whilst also getting our main attackers out and just thinning the deck in general. So yeah, really awesome card. Even with like low counts of synergistic cards, they're still really important to pick out of the deck at different times, which is awesome. We then have 3 copies of the new Great Catcher. You can discard 2 cards from your hand and then switch one of your opponent's bench GXs with that active. I already mentioned that Keldeo's damage output, even with that hidden buff, isn't going to be fantastic against like Dedennes or whatnot. So normally we're going to try and look towards, you know, tag team Pokemon that we can try and 2-hit KO. Obviously with the hidden buff you can do a lot better against Reshizards, which is relevant. And again, more importantly, the Ultimate Ray can deal with Dedennes, so Great Catching this stuff up is pretty important. I have debated around playing Customs instead of Great Catchers. Customs have a big benefit because Keldeo can like knock out things like Jirachis or all these other non-GXs that people play, and you take 2 prizes for them. Sometimes if you've just knocked out a tag team, and then you can just do custom catchers on a non-GX and the game's over. So that's always something like kind of relevant, but the draw engine that we're playing doesn't really supplement that very well. And if we're playing End Resolve and Dedenne, it feels like you'll quite often like lose a good amount of your custom catchers anyway. So at the moment I'm going for like a high count of Great Catcher, even though you'll only use it like once or twice in the game. But you can definitely go for customs as well. 3 Pokégears to help us towards some of these supporters. I think alongside the 3 tag calls, we have plenty of outs towards drawing cards turn 1. That's not really an issue. 4 Cherish Balls to get our main attackers, our backup attackers, and also Dedenne for drawing cards. 4 Switch to go along with our 2 Escape Boards, so really thick counts on that Jirachi engine, because again, Stellar Wishing towards this combo is important. Having a lot of outs for Pidgeotto control is going to be important as well, so yeah, it seems like a no-brainer for me, especially because all of our guys are pretty chunky. The 3 retreat on Arceus and the 2 retreat on Keldeo, moving these out of the way, is going to be important a bunch, and also it combos with that Mallow and Lana as well at the same time. Sometimes you want to keep attacking with the same thing, you do that heal, and then you just switch away back into the active if you haven't already got a boarded Jirachi, or if there's something else sort of blocking your path. Having this really high count is very nice for sure. So I've mentioned the 2-2 tag team supporter package. Cynthia Caitlin's a great one. You get to discard a card from your hand. I say get to because actually the deck doesn't have very many cards at all that you want to hold on to once you've hit your initial combo. The deck is really, really simple in how you're trying to set your game plan up. It's either an Arceus Palkia Dialga sets up another one, or it sets up your Keldeos, and then you just like try and swing a bunch. It's a really simple deck to like play, which means we have a bunch of discardables just because we're going to remove all these cards from our hand so that we can stamp proof ourselves, so we can just close games basically. So get to discard a card, usually like excess ends resolves or excess gears or stuff like that, you know. Throw those away, draw 3 cards, and also get a supporter back. So getting back regular Cynthias can be awesome, and getting back Mallow and Lana's is such a pain for, once again, non-GX decks, or anything trying to set up 2 hits. Even a bunch of tag team decks can't hit 280, of course. There's only a handful that can, so healing 120 from that can sometimes be a huge deal. So Cynthia Caitlin getting back either more consistency in Cynthia's or Mallow and Lana's is awesome. Whilst also drawing 3 cards at the same time. It's not the most powerful draw supporter, but again, we're so basic in what we're trying to do. That sort of mid-game is where Cynthia and Caitlin's like amazing, and we really have that sort of flexibility to sort of make these plays in my book. Here is the Mallow and Lana. I've been really impressed with this card. It was like mistranslated in Japanese, but it actually heals the active as well as going to the bench, so it's more like an Olympia rather than like healing the new active, which was what the translation was. But yeah, this card is insane. You do have to discard 2 cards from your hand. But as I mentioned with the Cynthia Caitlin, that's rarely an issue. And you get to heal 120 and move to the bench. It can get you additional Stellar Wishes, which is great. And just in general, that heal can be vital because we are inherently not the fastest of decks, especially if we're using, like say we went first, turn 2, we still deal no damage because we're doing Altered Creation a good amount of times. So getting that little heal to sort of undo some of the early pressure that we've had to take can be a really nice deal. So yeah, Mallow and Lana, insane, and a very scary card for Malamar. I know a lot of people are hyping up Malamar with the new additions that it has. Yes, it does gain a good amount of things, but Mallow and Lana is a big, big worry for the archetype. I really think that this card, in a lot of tag team decks, will stomp Malamar if they can just recycle it with Cynthia Caitlin and use it efficiently. It's going to be very ugly for them. Then we get on to the sort of main meat of the deck. 3 Cynthia just for some shuffle draw, but here it is, the 4 copies of Ends Resolve. We don't play 4 copies so that we can use him a bunch of times. It's rare that you'll use him more than twice. It's rare that you use him more than once, actually. In any matchup where you're trying to power up Keldeos, you only will use him once. But when you're going down an Arceus to Arceus kind of route, sometimes you Ends Resolve 2 times. It does discard the top 6 cards of your deck. I've mentioned already a bunch of times that the deck is so simple that we're only trying to sort of get attackers going and hoping that the attacks themselves get us through the game. So there's not too much that we want to, or too much that we're worried about getting rid of. Things like Chaotic Swells or backup like Dedennes and stuff, or Great Catchers, those are the only real cards that you're worried about getting rid of. Even like supporters, you don't mind seeing them go into the discard pile because we have Cynthia Caitlin that can get them all back. So the discard is really mitigated by the high counts of things that we play in this deck. And of course, we play a very high energy count at 15. So hopefully we're hitting more than 1 target with our Max Elixirs. Max Elixir decks usually played like 13 energies as like the highest counts. Boswell's sometimes played like 9 basic energies and then like a bunch of strong energies on top of that, if you remember. And even they expected to hit Max Elixir like above 50%. So Ends Resolve has good chances of at least hitting 1 energy. So you can get your extra manual attachment to use Alter Creation, hopefully. Or sometimes you high roll the N, you get multiple energies, and everything's pretty gravy. So yeah, this Ends Resolve, really good card, and helps us out if we've like had to take the sack on the first Arceus Palkia Dialga without using Ultimate Ray. Sometimes the second Ends Resolve comes in and fixes the situation for you. Couple board to combo with Jirachi, of course, and then we have the 15 energy. I actually didn't mention the Chaotic Swell, did I? Other than sort of just saying how good it is to combo with Keldeo. And yes, that's the main reason why we play 3, but also like just against any matchup, even if they're not power plant based, we just stop their plans. We slow down Pikarom from using their Thunder Mountain. We stop all sorts of different annoying stadiums. Even things like Wondrous Labyrinth can be annoying. All sorts of things, and just in general, stopping Welder decks from getting their Giant Hearth can be insane. So yeah, Chaotic Swell is as good as we all predicted. It's a super annoying card to play against, I'm sure, for a lot of people. So yeah, that is going to be a very simple take on the deck. There are a few other things that I could definitely consider going into this build. First of them is actually a Lucario Melmetal. I've got my caps lock on. To help us out with type coverage, obviously Arceus Palkia is weak to Fairy. We're already playing Metal Energies, so we could potentially add in a Lucario Melmetal so that we use that Ultimate Ray as soon as possible, power up this guy, and then you just simply two-shot through a Guardian, and they really can't do much about that. So yeah, if you feel like your Guardian matchup isn't safe enough with just Keldeo Swell combo, you can go down this route. Also, this card would be even more hellish for the Malamar matchup because we have natural resistance. Heavy Impact is obviously getting the job done against Giratinas and all sorts of other stuff. So the Mallow Lana will effectively full heal you. So yeah, that sounds very ugly. And also you like naturally resist, so they have to waste spell tag damage onto you and do all sorts of stuff. So yeah, this card is really annoying for Guardian and Mali, which I could definitely see going in the list. From there, custom catchers would be one of the other like big things that I would consider. Other than that, there's things like stadiums that I would also bear in mind. Like Viridian could be in here as a split with Swell. I think I would put it in addition to Swell. I don't think I'd go below 3 counts, but this helps fix your fix those awkward moments where the end gets you like 2 metals but no waters, or only in your hand you have waters, and then the end gets you more water. You know, with a split energy attack costs, it can be a little bit awkward sometimes. You know, the end just doesn't go your way. So having like a few extra outs, especially that you can Stellar Wish towards, could be reasonable. But right now, I'm just giving you a very vanilla, simple shell of the deck, so we can see how it goes. And yeah, let me know what other decks you want to see in action on the channel. There's been a bunch of decks that I've sort of done pre the ladder updating, all the sort of brand new archetypes, which I'm going to try and stream a bunch of, so that I can catch up with videos updating decks that we already know, basically. Pretty much a stinker of a turn 1 hand here. We've started Dedenne as our only Pokemon, and looks like we're probably going to have to just like Escape Board Cynthia, unless we get bailed out by some mulligans here. Looks like we're up against Faber. Faber in a fire deck. Maybe this is Green Zard? No, but they're playing Cherish Ball. Probably Ability Zard that's just playing Faber. Okay. We'll see. Oh, okay. It's Volcarona Silvally. Keldeo, definitely a good card in this matchup. They can't play Power Plant because it would basically ruin them. So that's good news for us. We also hit for weakness on Volcarona, so keeping Great Catchers around will be very strong. Feels like the game plan is probably going to be Arceus Palkia Dialga, use the GX attack, try and make Keldeo kill 2 Volcaronas if possible. Or we like finish off a Silvally as well. That's another route. Alright, we're going to put the board down, we're going to put the Swell down, we don't need any of these cards, and we'll just Cynthia for a fresh hand. So we won't be able to get the turn 1 attack off, so we'll go a slower route here by the looks of things. I am just going to grab an Arceus Palkia Dialga. We've prized 2 of our ends, which is a bit ugly. We have our other Dedenne in deck. A healthy amount of energy still in the deck as well. We're just going to see what our Stellar Wish does here. Okay, that gets us towards a Dedenne for next turn, which seems good because we don't have much else going for us right now. That seems fine. I don't need to put the other Jirachi down, I don't think. I'm pretty happy pivoting into the Dedenne. I mean, like I said, if we just altered Creation next turn, we don't need much combo stuff. I don't want to give them easy, like, low hit point things either, really. Yeah, I think we'll just chill. Especially because I'm not holding any switch card, naturally. I could have played the Cherish Ball this turn before I passed, just to get the Dedenne, but we could draw like a Keldeo or a Dedenne this way, and the Cherish Ball's still open. Alright, they're going to use their red and blue, discarding a couple cards so they can power up their active. They also get a second Silvally GX down, which is pretty good for them. So they can do a couple disc reloads, as long as the first one lets them play a few cards. We do see a Ditto come down. Also, that Volcarona GX coming into play. We see a Stealthy Hood. Stealthy Hood most likely trying to play around Mimikyu in a bunch of decks. We're going to see the first, what's it called, Flaming Shot? Yep. It's going to go to that Arceus Palkia Dialga. And they can just use Buddy Brave here. Obviously they played the tag team supporter, so it's doing easily enough. It's doing 120, right? Yep. Brave Buddies coming in. Alright, we draw a Tag Call, so I can get another... I think I'm just going to thin these from the Dedenne change. I might also Great Catcher and make him... let's actually check how many Great Catchers I'm working with. We do have all three. I definitely can go for a Great Catch here, just to slow him down maybe, and just GX into the Ditto. I think it's very reasonable. Oh, obviously not the Ditto, I mean the Silvally. Probably not the Volcarona. Oh, the Volcarona's fine actually. So I'm making the choice that I definitely want to use Keldeo for the rest of the game, which is fine. Let's bring this up. So they're at 5 prizes. They're going to try and go to 2 prizes this way. So the Jirachi probably is fine. And we'll just get our Dedenne change in. So Metal Energy is vital. That's very good. We also get an End's Resolve, so we can definitely play that this turn. I could retreat and Stellar Wish a card first, if I wanted to. What are we looking for, really? Maybe trying to protect a Great Catcher could be good. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. I could save the switch for next turn, though. Oh, I don't need to switch next turn. Don't need to switch. Yeah, let's retreat. Let's try and protect something. This is a good card to take. Obviously increases our stats with the End's Resolve as well. Ooh, big whiff. Never lucky. Alright. It just basically meant that I couldn't get a free attachment on Keldeo. We also lost one of our Great Catchers, right? Oh, we lost 2 of our Great Catchers, so that is actually the worst outcome possible. So we have no Gust left. So they're going to try and make us go through some Silvallies for sure. This Volcarona has a high retreat cost though. Bit of a rough N. That is the roulette that we play, even with 15 energy. There are no guarantees. We can see a flaming shot. What non-Jets attacker did this deck normally play? It's like possible Victini Prism. Well, probable Victini Prism. Possible Turtonator, maybe? Something like that. Possible Baby Clown, because they play so many Fire Crystals anyways. Did I get any good support in the discard pile at least? There's a Cynthia in the discard pile from turn 1 that I can Caitlin back next turn. So a few other cards that are only just coming to my head now that we could also add into the deck. Things like Tag Switch can be cool, just so that we could like pivot, Tag Switch, and immediately start attacking with Keldeos if they were good. Also, things like Reset Stamps are obviously reasonable. Stamp probably not going to be good against his deck though, because they've got multiple Silvally up. And we have no way to disrupt their abilities in this deck. So, second Volcarona hits the board. Let's see what they can do. They're also going to put down a Mimikyu. Okay, so that way they can shut down our Keldeos. That's another option for them. It means they can't use Dedenne Change though, so they're really hoping to find a welder here. We are going to see a Fire Crystal. For 2. They got themselves welder. So they can hit us for 160 here. Or they could use their own GX attack. That would actually be super annoying for us. No, they're just going to swing. Seems good. Oh, they can get a flaming shot in real quick. I'm going to set up that Keldeo. All right. I'm going to get rid of this Keldeo. Get back the Cynthia. Draw a fresh 3 cards. Can attach the metal. I can thin a Mallow and Lana real quick if I want to with this Tag Call. I probably want to Mallow and Lana this thing next turn. They won't have enough pings, so they'll have to attack through this guy. So they'll be putting the pings towards here, so I'll have to... I'll hide the Mallow and Lana, I guess. And we're going to do the old-fashioned way of just full blitzing, basically. Opponent's only played 1 welder so far. They probably need to like welder this turn and next turn, though. Oh, juice, they're playing Water Memory. Pretty cheeky. So they have 60 damage available from hand if they can draw into more pieces. We know they're holding a couple fires, but they may need them for welder. One of those weird things where usually you'd see them ping every time because they know that they could draw into things like Giant Furnace, but Furnace isn't really like a good out for them anymore. It's just like crystals now. We're going to see a couple Volcarona pings. Disc reload. Can see a Pokémon just to lower the hand. Oh wow, they play a lower Marowak. Do you reckon that's just for the Ditto evolution? It must be, right? Pretty cheeky. A lot of spicy cards on the list. They've got space for this, these. Faber. Insane. Alright, do they get themselves into the all-important welder is the question. See a Guzma and Hala. Getting rid of that Marowak and a Type Gnome, I think it was. Didn't actually see what they grabbed there. They did discard 2 cards, but they only took 1 target. Okay, so it was the Hearth that then just goes. Yeah, they're just going to have to... Massive Heatwave GX us, which really slows them down and puts us in good shape. Well, Swell's a good card. Water's good. Ultimate Ray looks good. How does healing sound? I could do like a switch tag call. Oh no, I don't have the discarding options for Mallow and Lana, so I'm just going to play the Cynthia here. I can switch into Jirachi real quick first. Yeah, let's get a bigger hand size rocking. Let's chill. Alright, let's use that Ultimate Ray. Taking 3 prizes. We just want to thin this deck to play around Stamp at this point. So Water Energy goes here. Metal can go here. And we'll also set up the slap play with Jirachi if we need it. So they're probably going to make us go through the Silvally, right? That's got to be their plan. The scariest thing, they still have great catchers around, so... And Volcarona can always hit 160 just raw. Because we end away all of our great catchers. We can't simply like win the game. You can see our deck is very thin, only 8 cards. So if the end hadn't been as brutal, we probably would have been fine. We actually see a welder to the bench. Yeah, if they keep pivoting around their Silvallies, it's actually going to be a real problem for us. We're going to have to try and Mallow Lana like multiple times, I think. And hope they don't have the gusting options with like alongside a full welder. Ooh, here's a great catcher. They can win the game here if they great catcher and have 2 energies. Oh no, they just need a great catcher, right? Yeah, that's game. Because we don't have the safety. Oh no, it's not game, because we're at 5 prizes. But this is still really bad for us. I was like, oh, we already lost, but I forgot he didn't attack us last time. This is still, like, basically the same. He's getting more value from his actual attack, I guess. So you can put more pings onto the onto the ADP. You can finally get rid of Swell. So he plays Marshadow as well. He's got space for everything in this list. Disc reloading. Does he have another Volcarona available? Oh, I guess he does. So we always know we're using Mallow and Lana, so we'll just kick off with this in the active. He's giving us some BM now. Rude. But it is true that we can't stamp him. Well, he's like a gust away from game. A gust and a fire crystal. Or a gust and 2 physical fires, or a gust and a hearth. Or like a welder and a bunch of more fires. Basically, we couldn't close the game against him, which is a bit of a shame. But I do think everything went against us that game, to be fair. Like, the opening hand was a dud. The End's Resolve was brutal. And yeah, let's see if they can get there. The only like good news is that hand is large right now. If they had a red and blue, life gets very scary for us, because then they'll have definite disc reloads to use. The thing is, he can always just retreat and do stuff like this. Is he saying out the red and blue play? Looks like he's just trying to set up some damage. If he was doing the ping, though, he probably should have disc reloaded first. See another flaming shot. Oh, they do have red and blue. Okay, so the hand is actually insane. Did we lose? Yeah, I think we lost, right? If he has an energy in hand, which we know he has because of the fire crystal. Alright, I was kind of hopeful, but looks like his hand is insane. As long as he has the energies in deck. But I think he should, right? Yeah, he got us. Well, like I said, I don't think this is really a problem matchup for us too much. The Mimikyu definitely helps them. But okay. We've already got a win. Sure. But yeah, I think we could have been faster. We could have had a second Keldeo set up, and we could have just had Great Catcher for game. Like, if things go a little bit more swimmingly for us there. Potentially it was greedy of me to do the initial Great Catcher. Just let the Silvally stay active. We'll go on to the next one, though. From my initial testing with Silvally Volcarona, I wasn't super impressed with it. I think it'll probably land its way around tier 2, 3. Which is really sad for me to personally say because I loved Decidueye. Alright, the hand's a little bit more workable. We've got Jirachi active, which we're always happy to see. We've got Cherish Ball, Gear, Stellar Wish all on our side. We get a mulligan as well. We're up against Pikarom. Pikarom, one of these decks which doesn't gain a huge amount from the new set. It can sometimes play low puff. It can sometimes play great catchers. But the basic core is still there. I don't imagine they'll play Tag Call because Radar's such a strong card for them anyway. So we'll see how this pans out. They're playing Cherish Balls though. Maybe there's some spicy stuff going on in their list. Maybe it points towards them playing low puff. They're just going to attach and pass. We actually draw into a ADP, which is nice. So I'm going to dedicate this Cherish Ball towards a Keldeo. Wow, we priced 3 ends resolves. Bruh, we're never going to get this turn 1. Okay. We'll dig harder, I guess. Against opposing tag team decks, you don't always need to do the GX attack, but you basically always try to. Alright, we won't take this. Ooh. We found him. Let's go for it. So this time we get the 2 off, which is a lot better than 0. So we could be potentially full blitzing on 1 here. Of course we missed the switch. So instead we are not going to let him have Thunder Mountain. Especially when he hasn't discarded any lightnings, that's a big deal. And we're just gonna... What do we have to get rid of? Nothing too scary. The Dedenne was the worst thing. The N was actually super good for us there. I'm not gonna put down the second ADP just yet. We'll just pass. So that would have been an opportune moment to get a free GX attack in or a free 150 damage in. It would have been super sick. It would have been like playing a Pikarom Mirror and we full blitzed on 1, which doesn't happen hugely often. Now we're not necessarily playing from behind, but we're in a little bit worse shape. We'll try and bump the swell and pass it to us. Okay, so we can still have tempo advantage on them, which is cool. I'm going to go for a Stellar Wish here. This video has been such a meme already. Okay, I'm going to do this just to switch. I'm not going to risk missing. I'm going to play an expensive switch. And now we have to debate whether GX attacking is correct. So if I GX attack, he's basically always full blitzing. If he tag bolts with 3 E powers, we just lose. Because I have no more ends in the deck to like accelerate this guy. So I guess I have to Ultimate Ray. Just for that alone. We've got rid of a lot of metals, so I guess I'll just be attaching waters here. Alright, well, Ultimate Ray. Get some damage on him. Against tag teams, you have that decision to make. It's like, do I try and do the Altered Creation and try and, like, Great Catcher or Dedenne after dealing with a tag team, or do I have enough? Like, is this tempo going to be enough to win the game? So imagine we're basically playing, like, we basically full blitzed onto a second Pikarom. We're basically just being Pikarom at this point, but we don't have the Tag Bolt knockout potential. We're just going to try and two-slog our way there. The good news is 240 hit points is low enough for Ultimate Ray into Keldeo attack to be good. Also good for us is if he gets overzealous, we could maybe go for a Keldeo-GX attack as well on certain things. So he's going to attach Retreat, Volkner for a Lightning and something else. No way he took Acrobike off that Volkner, right? Surely not. Did he? I didn't see what he took, actually. He must have taken that E-Switch, right? There's no way. No, he took that Acrobike. Okay. Sure. Alright. They're just going to power up the active. Okay. That seems pretty chill. I'm going to get a fresh hand here. And we're just going to Ultimate Ray. I don't need any other attackers the entire game, so I'm just going to put 2 on Keldeo, 1 on Jirachi. So he can take 5 prizes next turn with a big Tag Bolt. But then he'll be left with not much else threatening the play. Drawing 5 cards would give him a stacked hand to play with, though. Tate and Liza. Okay, this is a very strange list. Alright, we're going to see the Dedenne change coming in. In theory, we could lose if he gusts and gets triple E power. But no, he's going to hold the Dedenne and have an insanely stacked hand for next turn. Can go for a Tag Call. I think I want a Cynthia and Caitlin just to get a Cynthia back into our hand. And also just discard this ADP real quick. Man, they do have a lot of, they have all the E powers available, which is super scary for a big tandem shock play. It is asking a lot though, right? In a way, this plays around Stamp a little bit better, because he's probably going to Stamp... I guess he can't Paralyze. I guess he has to try and use some sort of non-GX. I really don't know here. I mean, I can't... Like, if he has Custom still in his list, we're in big trouble. There's not much I can do about that, though, at this point in the game. Alright. Well, Sonic Edge. We haven't seen any customs just yet. And he plays Acrobikes. Acrobike and Custom doesn't always mix super great. There's all the prized ends resolves. Well, one of them. Let's see if their 11 card hand can get them there. Pretty hopeful that it doesn't. Okay, so he dances, he attaches. Choo-Choo comes up, E-Switch comes up. Okay. Okay, we got wrecked by a plant. I could have played a switch into our Jirachi last turn and tried to swell, but I wasn't expecting a plant. We could have lost all sorts of things there, to be fair. We'll go for one more game. This has so far been a clown fiesta. My first, 6 games of this deck on Friday before I left for France, I was super stoked on it. But we've kind of been memed on in our last couple games. We get to go first here, which is pretty good. So we can just slow attach to this guy. Just kidding, we hit an ends resolve. Alright, so all of our energy are in the deck. Let's grab some supporters just to make our end better. Alright, there we go. We hit 4. Insane. That's like the best outcome possible. Losing a Cherish Ball and a Jirachi is super fine as well. So I can even do that. They're never going to lay power plants, so now we're just denying heat factories and stuff. So yeah, that's really good tempo. Hearth having to get binned off. It's actually a super big deal against Mewtwo's because they play a much lower count than things like abilities and stuff. So they have way less odds of using a welder if you don't give them Hearth. So we can just Ultimate Ray here, I think. I want to pressurize this Mewtwo as quickly as possible. And we'll set up our next Keldeo. The hand's not looking great, but I mean we have plenty of attackers to use. Don't think I haven't noticed that Lugia GX that they've got on the bench either. That's something. Okay, they just concede. So I think Mewtwo basically conceded as soon as they couldn't Hearth, which does show you the power of Swell. Let's get one more game in. Also, an ends resolve did go haywire that game. We've had all sides of the spectrum. We've had terrible, insane, and medium with ends so far. Alright, looks like we're hoping for a good Jirachi. Stellar Wish can give us 4 Cherish Balls or 3 Tag Calls to be in great shape. Oh, okay, we're in great shape. Looks like we're up against Ability Zard, is my initial assumption. We already have a Cynthia and Caitlin, so we'll probably just take 2 of these guys. We'll still Stellar Wish first. Cynthia and Caitlin, not fantastic as a like only supporter in hand. But I think I still want to grab a Keldeo here because I'm greedy. We won't attach this yet. We'll see how this N treats us. Treats us pretty good. Treats us pretty good. So I'm happy to do that. Mention Keldeo feels fine to me, even though they probably do have like backup attackers and stuff, but this is definitely a good matchup for Keldeo to come in and be solid. Alright, we'll chill there. Did we get any other supporters in our discard pile? We did not. One of our switches hit the bin. All of our excess Jirachis, they're allowed to go. I'm trying to get a whiff of Pokégear. Looks like they're going to have to try and Stellar Wish now. Looks like their top deck was a Jirachi. They're going to grab a Heat Factory. That can get them a few more cards, get them back into better shape. But we're immediately putting on so much pressure with just the option of Ultimate Ray. We are both napping, so I can't just pay retreat, unfortunately. But we do rip a switch off the top, so I'll stop moaning. We even get a board. Is board better? I really don't want to Cynthia and Caitlin this. Not super high odds that we hit Cynthia, but okay. Rip. I'm too greedy. Now, when the opponent's bricking, we definitely want to Ultimate Ray this. There's no way we're using Altered Creation here, because they're in trouble, and we want to make it so that they're in more trouble. Try and tempo out our next attacker on them. I know I've been boasting about the GX attack, but we've been in a spot where Ultimate Ray has been stronger a lot of the times. Obviously, against the Volk Valley, the GX attack was pretty vital for our game plan. Whiffing the first Pokégear, we see another one. Now we see a Welder. You'll see a Com, so they're definitely in the game. Ninetales goes in. Gonna see a Reshizard on the scene. Fire Crystal, pretty clutch. See a full value Welder. There's a Cherish Ball as well. For a Dedenne change. And they're going to go ahead and get a new hand. Ooh, a bunch of Fire Crystals hit the bin there. We see a Stellar Wish. And now we'll have to have a think about what we want to do here. Do I just use Mallow Lana switch effect, Great Catcher and GX with Keldeo into the Zard? I guess I do, right? Seems good to me. Seems pretty decent. Good bit of pressure. The opponent forced to find things like Victini Prism this turn. 7 fires in the discard pile currently. Maybe a Turtonator. Turtonator doesn't do enough, actually. Maybe a Blown if they have one more crystal available. Otherwise, they're in trouble. Yeah, we're going to see the Victini Prism coming down. They swapped the factory for the hearth. They still choose to throw away a fire. So that's 8. So if they can Dedenne change or somehow discard another, they're chilling. They're gonna Palpad and Stellar Wish. I guess they could pay retreat. Oh, okay. They're gonna Stellar Wish. Yeah, they could have paid retreat to do it. Oh no, they've already retreated out of Vulpix. I'm dumb. Wait, did they play Switch? I can't remember. I'm not following this game very well. Regardless, they hit in Ninetales, but that doesn't get them a knockout on ADP unless they get a bunch of fires in the bin. Alright, we are going to see a switch. Okay, they do have Dedenne change. There's the fire. They can board up their bench now. There's a Turt with the fire. Reduce that Infinity for 180. And a bunch of drag cards go back into their deck. So, we don't need the End's Resolve. We definitely don't need him. I guess working towards another ADP or Keldeo is our best bet. So we're probably just going to play Cynthia here. And we'll just Ultimate Ray through this. The only, again, awkward thing is that they could now put down like a Reshizard, and we're still a couple turns away from dealing with it. If they are a double Zard build. Looks like they're just grabbing a non-GX. Which means I don't think they can actually win the game. They had to have something that could tank. Which was asking a lot. We're going to see a Welder though. I guess they can retreat into the Dedenne this turn and just hope that we can't knock it out, which is pretty fine. Okay. I guess they could have... No, I don't really know where their win con was coming from. Alright. Well, that was Arceus Palkia Dialga with Keldeo. The games were super weird. I feel like we got some weird games in for sure. Still a lot to be explored. I'm thinking this is around tier 2. Still need to try out a few different variations. I think customs may well just be worth it over Great Catchers, as good as they are. Maybe playing like 1 Great Catcher and 4 customs if I can find room. I think the Tag Call and the little Cynthia Mallow package is super good. We didn't really see it in action because we didn't face any Malamar or any like other things that try and two-shot the Keldeo. So we just used it for the switch effect a couple times. We did do like 1 healing effect right against the Silvolk, but that was really about it. So let me know what you guys think about this list. Have you been trying the Arceus Palkia Dialga? I remember in my set review, I was like, I don't think this will be a thing. But in hindsight, I think that Tag Call is such a good card. It pushes the greens variants, Greens and Guardian, to, you know, like way up there. And even like combo decks like the Trev Noir, I think it takes all those decks to like another level. And they become very strong and consistent. So I think having Keldeo Swell as a combo is very solid as a base for the deck, and then having extra prizes being taken in your favor is also really solid. So I'll hear it all down below, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in another Cosmic Eclipse video tomorrow. Cheers.